Welcome to the Trustbound Podcast. Welcome back, everybody, to another amazing episode of the Trustbound Podcast. Um, today has the guest that we have today has a different spin to it. It's quite special because, as you've probably heard, most, if not all, of our previous guests, they come from the tech space, the tech universe, regardless if it's, from the VC universe or founder universe or consultant universe, coach universe, but mostly in the tech universe. But today, we have a very special guest. Jolisa, thank you so much for being here with me. And right before hitting record, uh, we were starting to talk about the relationship that I guess we must hold with our AI agents, so that when AI or if AI takes over the world, I guess AI spares us and not kills us because I guess we got to treat um, AI right. Jolisa, thank you so much for being here.
Oh, yes. Thank you for having me. Yeah, definitely that conversation is an important one to have. I get a little worrisome when I see people calling their AI stupid and bad mouthing. I'm like, I don't know if that's the best idea in the world. I would maybe try to be a little bit more polite. I don't know if you've seen the movies, I Robot, all those sci-fi movies, and I don't know. I'd rather be safe than sorry. So I will say, please, thank you. You're great. You're amazing. And just hype it up as much as I can, because just in case it comes to that, I'd rather have something in my corner, hopefully. But who knows, if it does get to that, we may all be screwed.
Yeah. It's funny because I tell my wife all the time, like, um I was raised in LATAM, so I don't know. Of course, this was a translated show. It was a cartoon in the U.S., and then we got the version, the Spanish version, of course. We got the Supersonicos, and there was this robot called Robotina. I don't know how. So, for example, Los Picapiedras were the Flintstones. I don't know what the show show was called in the US, but basically it's the show of this family that lives in the future, and they just have robots for assistance, basically. And I it's funny because, coming off of New York Tech Week and Latino Tech Week, I think that was a big part of, or big chunk of, not just, I guess, the panels, but also like the chit chat and the networking events and the feeling around the events. I think that AI is just moving at such just incredible speeds that eventually all of us will have, I guess, our personal assistant or AI assistant. And I'd like to think that I want to have my assistant be my friend and um not my enemy, I guess. And I say this all the time, like, hopefully, and one of the reasons why I started this podcast is AI cannot process emotion and AI cannot feel. And let's hope that it will stay like that and it will stay that way, because if not, I guess we're looking at a real life Matrix. It will not be Neo anymore on a freaking movie. But I guess us fighting the robots.
Oh my God, that's just so stressful to think about. I don't want to think about that, us fighting the robots. I don't know, but you're right. That's why I love the fact that it can't process human emotions yet. And I think that it's really important for us as humans to hone down on those skills. because there probably will be a point where it processes the emotions, but I don't think there's like ever going to be anything like human to human contact, regardless of how good you are at processing the emotions. It's garbage in, garbage out. So if you're feeding whatever the LLM or your agent or whatever on a certain set of things, you're only human, so you're probably going to forget to include things, or you're also human and you're like, I'm not going to include that bad trait about me. I'm going to keep that piece of the puzzle all. So, you know, acknowledging that fact that it's only as good as what you put into it is very important, and honing down on those skills and learning how to communicate with people and talk to people and relate to people is really, I think, is going to be something that is going to make people stand out as AI is going to continuously evolve, especially like in the financial services industry. A lot of the technical knowledge is all going to be like gone. Like you're not really technically going to need that at some point because everything's going to be so readily available in these systems. But having that human relationships, being able to be there for someone and understand how to talk to them based on what you know about them, when they're going through those hard times is really so important, because we're humans are, what's the word, connection, like they like connection, human connection. So yeah, AI could take it over, but like at the end of the day we still need that. I can't think of the
Yeah.
word.
Yeah. And it's funny because um, at the beginning of the year, so I used ChatGPT like a madman last year. Just this year, I swapped to Claude, and I guess I found that each platform has its pros and cons, or its specific strengths. For some things, I still use ChatGPT heavily, but just for a couple of things. But last year, I used ChatGPT exclusively, right? And I asked the AI to generate an image of my relationship with it, and I can't remember the name of the actor. He's very famous, and I kind of feel like um, kind of feel shitty that I can't remember his name because he was in The Hangover. He was also in this movie with um, and I'm spacing out this very famous Lady Gaga, Bradley Cooper. There we go, Bradley
Oh
Cooper.
yeah, oh okay.
So check out, if for everybody listening, if you are just listening in, I'll try to put the image once the episode airs. It's basically um, somebody that looks more like Bradley Cooper instead of me. Uh, just having, I guess, a conversation about planning how to destroy the Earth or how to make Earth better. I like to think that they're talking about how to make Earth better with their robot, that it kind of looks very similar to iRobot, and it's freaking me out. But in any case, it's and I think that what you mentioned is very, very interesting in terms of relationships. And in our one of our previous conversations, you mentioned that um I guess the financial advisors should use their business, or should build their business like dentists build their business, right? And I've been in tech my entire career, but of course, like I have a financial advisor. We actually had our 6-month check-in last week, and he knows absolutely everything about me. I think uh, the person that knows more about me besides Frank is my wife, and then the non-person that knows me or more about me than Frank is my agent, I guess, if you will. But I guess for everybody listening, walk us through, like, I know what you meant because we talked about this, but like, how does um or how do relationships work in the financial services industry that they should run, or advisors should run their business like dentists do?
Yeah, I think, this could apply to people who are working within the financial services industry, but also in any industry. And what I mean by that is that you go into a dentist office and they greet you. They usually know you. They know your name. They know something about you. You feel welcome. There's kind of something that's familiar when you enter the space. Going to the dentist office can be very intimidating. You may have
Mm.
10 cavities in your mouth and you may have to like get all of them taken out. So, coming into the dentist office, usually, at least with my experience, it's been pleasant the first initial. So, if you are like an in person company, having that experience is good. But then, what do you do when you're virtual? Just having those touch points that are personal. I think that a lot of things are very generated, how you say, like, scripted and templated, which is good, up to a certain extent, and just adding that personalization to it, keeping track of, like, their kids. How old are their kids? Are they in college? Are they in sports? This and that, because it feels good to know that someone that is helping you with your money, who is so intertwined in your life, knows you on a deeper level, because money, that's serious. Like, dealing with people's money is a big deal, and like, being able to meet people where they're at and say, hey, yes, I could help you with your money, but I'm also someone that is in your corner, really could help when it comes to the behavioral issues that come up around money. So, for example, let's say, I feel that a lot of people, they hear financial advisor, wealth advisors, they think Wolf of Wall Street, investments, like that's what they do. But the industry is really, turning into a lot more than that. There is, of course, the investment side of the business, but there's a financial planning, really getting so intertwined with somebody's life, understanding, like, what are your values? I mean, this is a good framework. Not everybody acts like this or like practices this way, but I think it's important to, really get to know these people on a deeper level, understanding, like, what are their values, what's important to them. Yeah, I want to make this much money, but why do you actually want to make that much money? And getting down to the deeper reasons for, their goals, but also the deeper reasons to why they're making the money decisions that you do. So, going back to running your business like a dentist practice, just keeping track and remembering these little items, and then you start to, get data, or you start to learn more about the client, and that then will help you, you know, work with the client better, understand, help them try to break maybe some of these generational financial curses, being able to relate to them and meet them at their level. So just being efficient, a mixture of efficient but also personable. I think that when a lot of people hear me say systems and processes, they think that I want everything to be cut and dry and it just has to be this way. But the systems and the processes give you a good framework to, have a good client experience. And having a good client experience obviously is going to make the client feel better. And then just having that personal touch, and just connecting with people on a less surface level.
Yeah. And I think that that personal touch is absolutely crucial. As you were just talking about, not just like the sensitivity of money, but also like the sensitivity of business and of relationships. I don't know how, and I by the way, this is the reason why I love that these episodes are completely unscripted, because like just you start thinking about like random stuff in the middle of the episode. So I don't know why The Office came to mind. So I absolutely love The Office. Um, And for people that haven't watched The Office, there's this manager, this gentleman, sales manager. He's the regional manager for um, a paper company called Michael Scott, and Michael, his business is all about relationships, right? And one of the salespeople, Dwight Schrute, he's the best salesperson in the business. And Michael is funny because he writes everything about his clients, and then I think that Dwight steals the notebook or whatever. I can't remember what happens, but he goes to oh he, Dwight steals the list of clients, and then Dwight goes to one of Michael's top clients and says something completely inappropriate to the client, and ends up losing the client, right? And then Michael says, it's like that information for that client was in green. Green means go. So that to me means go shut up about it. Something along those lines. So it's funny how you can have everything written down. And now I'm thinking about CRMs. You can have everything written down, everything could make sense. But depending on the specific relationship with the specific person and the specific way how you know your business, you are going to be the only person that knows how to manage each um, specific relationship. And I think that is absolutely unreal. And I have no clue why I just thought of that on the fly, but I think that's very cool. So talking about I guess the sensitivity of money. And then the other thing, when you said sensitivity of money, I don't know why the other thing that the first thing that came to mind, or the second thing after the Michael Scott thing, um, was how, so I was, as I already said here, and I think it's pretty obvious because of my, I guess, the accent. I was raised in Latin America, and unfortunately, most Latin American families have like conflicts, as all families do, but most of the conflicts surround money, like are around money. Like money to me, and of course, like I won't get into this. This isn't therapy. I too have issues in my family, my extended family. Um, and those issues also are surrounded around money. And it's when you, I guess, take a step back and you look at the situation, it's like it's so dumb to be fighting over money, right? But I think that money is so incredibly emotional that unfortunately it transforms people and it transforms relationships. And I guess in your experience, because I mean, in our last conversation, you talked about how you help, um, you know, people, and you talk about these generational financial curses. And to me, when I think about money and I think about the impact of money in a relationship and a family, and how you carry yourself through life, I think mentality has also a lot to do with it. Um, I guess, uh, what are your thoughts around that? Like, what are your thoughts about when you look at not just the career of an advisor, financial planner, financial advisor, and money, and I guess that very fine line between relationships and emotions, and just yeah, that fine line between those two. How, like, what are your thoughts on all of that, and on how trust and relationships make or break, you know, uh, a relationship, you know, um, when you just are talking about something as sensitive and as transformative for good or bad that is money.
I think with anything, it really starts with, sitting with yourself and understanding what your relationship is around these things, like money. So are you the type of person who doesn't care, I'm gonna figure it out, I'm really gonna spend, I'll figure it out? Or are you the type of person like, yeah, I may have all this money in the bank, but I can't spend it. How are you spending that money? I don't understand. I have more money than you and I'm stressed. Like, where are you on? Or then there's people like, yeah, no, like I'm cool, like I'm in the middle. So understanding where on that, plane are you? Because I think that a lot of people feel like they are the only person that falls anywhere on those spectrums, but in reality, there's people that fall all over across the spectrum. So like get understanding. Okay, where do you what do you feel like? And then okay, I think I feel like this. Okay, what was your past like with money? What was your family experiences, life experiences with money? Were things tight growing up? Was your family always living paycheck to paycheck? And maybe there was times where bills are not being paid, etc. Okay, fast forward. You may be a little bit more like, yeah, I'm not gonna spend this money. Or you know, were there situations when you're growing up with your family and you're with your mom at the store and you're like, I want this toy. And they're like, okay, okay, okay. I want this toy. Okay, okay, okay. And like they get you all the toys. Well, fast forward to now, maybe you're more like, screw it. Like, I don't care. Like, I'll figure it out. Like, I'll buy this. I'll buy that. I'll go on this trip. I'll go on that trip. Oh, wait, now I'm like $30,000 in debt. You know, understanding that you're not just the way you are for no reason. There's a lot of things that usually build up to that. Obviously, not everybody's a financial professional, not everybody can look at themselves and their experience and be able to like put two and two together. So I think
Mm.
that's when it's important to bring somebody else in the mix, whether that is a financial advisor, a financial coach, a financial therapist, and sharing these stories and sharing these conversations with them, and then having them either prompt questions to you or help you put two and two together. Because most of the times, at least in my work, we deal with so many different people going through so many different things, but there's certain similarities. If you're going through a divorce, there's certain similarities. If you're selling a business, there's certain similarities, planning for college, etc. So although each situation itself is very different, there are some similarities between the things, and there's things you learn along the way. So I think that a lot of people are like, oh, well, I could just use ChatGPT. I don't need a financial advisor. I could do this, I could do that. But there's that human component, bringing back to the dentist's office, bringing back to just, understanding people on a deeper level, and understanding human emotions, and knowing how to ask the right questions in the right time, and just knowing when to listen and not to even talk. Because I think that and alone can create a lot of self realization for people. People just being able to have somebody to speak to. Um, so, once you have journeyed within yourself, then you may be able to have better relationships around money with other people. Because like I worked for a firm who we specialize in working with people who are going through life transitions like divorce. And I've seen one of the biggest issues was around money. And if you don't know what your relationship is with money, but you're bothered by someone else's relationship with money, how are you supposed to explain to that other person what your problem is when you don't even know what your own problem is and what your own relationship is? But that falls back to everything, whether it's around money or around your own emotions or around this, around that. It's very important to sit with yourself a little bit and kind of learn yourself more. And I think once you're able to learn more about yourself and your emotions and etc., then your relationships with family, friends, businesses, etc., can be a little bit better.
Yeah, totally. And I guess two things come to mind. There's this great host. He has his own show. His name is Dave Ramsey.
Mhm.
I follow him on Instagram and I see his like the shorts of uh, of his shows. He has just people come in and call in, and you know um, it's 95% of the issues are surrounding money. So I think it's nuts how money can influence positively or negatively a relationship with not just with yourself, but with your partner, with your family, with your ecosystem. Um, and I think that in business it works the same way, right? If for example, sales. I've been in tech my entire career. I've been in tech the tech industry. I mean software, right? For people listening in, and in sales my entire career as well. And it's funny because I thought when I started in this career, I thought that I was good at sales. Sometimes people think that maybe that they're good with money. But perhaps, in my case, it was ego, right? That was disallowing me to see those blind spots that I definitely had. And I had to just find myself between a rock and a hard place to realize that, I needed help. And then that help came. And in the name of Rick Roberge and Carol Mahoney. That Rick was actually episode 3 of this podcast. If folks haven't listened to that episode, I think it's very a very, very cool episode to listening in. But I think it's very similar, or I guess I find it very similar when it comes to the the way how you think about money or that perception that you have with money, and that I guess that extrapolates to perhaps any other element of your life. I mean, if you look at sales at any given way or business any given way, I think that I guess the reason why, for example, I feel like Frank, my advisor, or Fabio, my dentist, all the way in Colombia, um, have such a tight and successful business is because how they carry themselves and because the how they protect their relationships. But I think that you bring a crucial point to the conversation. It's just that element that you should know yourself and how, in this case, um, I guess, your relationship with money, and then not judge the other party or the other person because their relationship with money might be a little bit different, right? And but understanding and sort of like, I don't want to say coming to terms, but if there are things that you should improve in your own relationship with money because that's negatively affecting yourself, your family, your loved ones, your circle, your ecosystem, then do so. But understanding that is very, very empowering. Actually, there's this dear friend that um, I care a lot about this person, and this person was raised in not the best financial situation, and today, I mean I don't know what this person's net worth is, but it's incredible everything that this person has achieved in life. And there's this treat that is this person's favorite treat. um and when I asked what makes this your favorite treat, um my friend just goes, well, I didn't really have a lot growing up, and um, my head of household, single mother, right? Mom and dad at the same time. She would work 3 jobs to make sure that I could have the best life that she could give me. And I saw all of my friends in school buying all sorts of candy and all sorts of stuff. And the only thing that I could afford was this this thing. And I could only buy this once a week, I think it was the story. And that to me is incredibly powerful and incredibly empowering because today this person's financial situation is 180 degrees what this person's situation was growing up. But the relationship with money that this person has, like when I look at um just I guess our relationship, like my relationship with my friend, and what I could just deduce based on what I've seen firsthand is a very not just healthy relationship with money, but also sort of like a very um respectful and I guess in a way like honoring relationship with money. Like I haven't seen I think I haven't seen a person that is so giving and like care first and charitable and just an amazing human being as this friend that I've had for so many years. And I hope that I I did everything in my power to, of course, keep this person's identity confidential. But no, but yeah, I think that when hearing you speak, I'm just remembering just the situation, and I think that it's not just money; it's the way how you carry yourself in life, in business and in personal life, with money, with friends, with business partners, with clients, and that relationship and the way how you bring yourself and your A game, if you will, to that relationship is very, very important. But you need to understand yourself, the good, the bad, the ugly, so that you can at least know what to expect from yourself and how I guess what is the version of yourself that you are going to give that other person, that other business, and I guess I'm clueless in terms of how financial planners and financial advisors, carry themselves just because I just don't have the experience. I'm not in that universe. So thank you for being here again. Um, I guess what are your thoughts on everything that I rambled for the past couple of minutes?
Yeah, everything. I'm like, wait, there's like 20 things you said. Well, I think that, the story of your friend really resonated with me because I also have someone in my life who also came from very little means, who has also built something so grand, but throughout it all, they've kept and they've stayed very humble, like you
Mm,
said, very, very giving, very charitable, very, I will literally fly to your graduation because your family cannot come here because they're stuck in another country because it's COVID, to I will go on my hands and knees and take this tape off of the floor instead of asking the receptionist because why not? I mean, I'm a human too. Like, just I think it's so beautiful to see when people, create this wealth for them, yet they still stick to their values and their roots. Because I think in this world is very, there's good and there's bad, and there's a lot of good people and there's a lot of bad people. And a lot of times I feel that when people do start to gain that wealth, they forget where they come from.
Mm,
And I just love being able to see and hear stories about people who still stick to their roots regardless of how far they've made it. Um, and yes, it's amazing. Like, it's amazing to have people like that, but having that mentality and that mindset is going to help your business or your career or whatever it is, because if you're truly genuine and you truly like to help people and give back, I'm a big believer of good karma. And I think that, things will come back around. I'm not saying to be a good person just to get the good karma back. I'm just saying that, being a good person also does pay off over here. And building those relationships and being genuine and being selfless and um what's the word? What the heck? Oh my god, what's the word? I don't know what the word is. Vulnerable. Yeah, just being all those things is great. Just as a human being, it's very important. But also, if you're in business or you're trying to do certain things, it's going to help you there as well. And I've noticed a lot of people, they are just trying to get rich quick and trying to do the fast thing and trying to cut corners. I'm like, yeah, you will get rich quick, but is it sustainable? And are you actually going to be happy? Or are you going to actually lose everyone along the way? I am the type of person, like, I don't care. I'll build slowly. I will build sustainably where I can still keep my relationships intact. And yeah, it may take me a little bit longer to get to the end goal, but I don't really care. I'm not in a rush, because I've recently said, screw the end goal. I'm just going to appreciate the journey, and wherever I end up, it'll be fine. Not saying that, like, I'm not going to put in my all, but life is crazy. You never know what's going to happen tomorrow. Might as well enjoy it while you can.
oh, that hits home. Like, it's like that saying goes, like, you and for people that love New York and New Yorkers listening in, I'm sorry, but Boston guy here just taking a stab. Um, Lived in Boston for like 14 years, and I would go with my friends to the city to visit, of course, a bunch of other friends. And the best thing of New York was just remembering that I didn't live in New York, just going back to Boston. And Tech Week just showed that piece of New York that is great, right? But for or at least for me, for a very specific just I just can't handle the city. It's just too much. It's too much for me. And I kind of feel that it's just so fast paced that you forget to breathe, take it slow, one day at a time, right? And enjoy the little things, right? It's so fast paced, boom, 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 that you kind of forget to do that. And I know there's a saying, I can't remember the saying, but it's this is I kind of feel that, and this was me a couple of years ago, where I was just so obsessed of the next thing, the next goal, boom, 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 and like trying to like build all of this stuff, right, and do all of this stuff just for validation, even if it was my own validation because my own freaking traumas, right? But I was so obsessed about the future and frightened about the past that I was forgetting to live in the present. And I was not present. Like my present wasn't present. And I think that a lot of people unfortunately just live, and I was living um a life that wasn't supposed to be lived, because like if I continued down that path, I was going to arrive to the end of my life without have like having lived, And I think that unfortunately, not just a lot of people are like entangled in that, but just money has a lot to uh to do with that, unfortunately. And I kind of feel like, I guess, in the tech universe, it happens all the time. It's like you see LinkedIn and you see a bunch of founders, and now I'm a founder too. So you see a bunch of founders and a bunch of companies just like raising capital and closing business and doing a bunch of stuff. And of course, to me, LinkedIn now, it's more like social media where it's kind of toxic because you're only seeing what the algorithm wants you to see. And it's like everything that's good with them. And then it's a comparison and ego and sort of like, I'm seeing all of these things. Why am I not good enough? Where, like, what do I need to do to get there? Right. And sort of like you're chasing this goalpost that, or trying to get to this goalpost that continuously moves because it's fake, right? But the moment that you stop and look back and appreciate what you have and who you are and the relationships that you've built and the people that are part of your ecosystem, I think that is what's most special. And I think that that is why, at least coming from a client of not just a financial advisor, but also a dentist. Like every single time that I have a conversation with my financial, with Frank, or when I go to my dentist and we just chat, it like just the noise in I guess my head or my world just comes all the way down. And it's just so chill. And for example, my dentist loves jazz, so he's like jamming jazz in his in his I can't remember the word in English, in his consultorio in his office. And I'm just like there and it's chill. And he even offers beer if you want beer,
Oh
and
wow.
water and coffee. And it's like, nah, he's like this dude, he's the real deal. Um, but I think that that is something that when it comes to not just life, but business and relationships in general, they make or break a huge component of your day to day and of your life.
Yeah, I think so. And, it could be so easy to get tied up in the hustle and the bustle. But like you said, like media doesn't make it easy for us. Money doesn't make it easy. The inflation doesn't make it easy for us. There's things that are going on that make people feel that they have to continuously go on this circle. Yeah. When I was in Tech Week, I had fun the first 2 days. I was commuting from Jackson Heights on the subway. I'm like, look at me, I'm a New Yorker for the week. And it was Wednesday. I was like, oh my God. I'm like, how do these people do this every day? I'm like, I'm exhausted. I'm like, we had there was a Pilates event with Tech Week. So I went to Central Park and I'm like, I'm not doing any meetings today. I'm like, I'm gonna marinate in the grass and the trees and catch up on things because this is crazy. I'm like, oh my goodness. I'm like, no wonder why they say New Yorkers are always mad all the time. I'm like, I don't blame you. You're always like, bah, 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 bah. And like, I couldn't even be on my phone half of the time because if I was on my phone, I would miss a subway stop and then I would have to get off. It was just, you just had to be alert 24/7. Um, but I think it's good to have some of that hustle component. I also went to Puerto Rico for 3 weeks this year.
Oh,
And
jealous.
Oh my God. It was really nice to be there for an extended amount of time. My family is originally from Puerto Rico, and I've been just trying to get more connected with my roots. And being there, it's night and day because there everybody is like chilling, going with the flow, like everything just peaceful, like you could just take things one step at a time. and just being able to know that life is like New York and life is like Puerto Rico. Like, there's gonna be times where you gotta go, 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 but like New York. But then there's gonna be times where you need to take a step back. Gotta be on island time, gotta be in Puerto Rico time. Refresh yourself, because what I've noticed and so many people hustle, 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 hustle. They don't give themselves a break, but then their body like smacks them and like makes them sit down. And what I've analyzed is usually the time, if you don't actually sit down and your body forces you to shut down, the time that it takes you to recover and or what you're producing in that time frame is a lot less efficient than if you would have just sat down in the first place.
Yeah.
And I'm speaking to myself because I've done that a lot, where I will go, 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 and I'm like, I hit a wall, and then it's just like bad. I'm just short tempered and like I can't do anything, and it's just not productive. So I personally have been trying to do better of learning how to sit down before my body forces me to sit down. And then you don't have to sit down for a long time. It could be for a little, you could go for a little 10-minute walk. A little 10-minute walk in nature really changes the game. And you New Yorkers, there's a lot of parks in New York. So you could find some parks here and there and reset. But you know, that I think is so important, because life is the ebbs and the flows and the goods, the bads, and you just have to just rock with it. Learn how, go back to learning about yourself, knowing your limits. Just because this person could work 28 hours doesn't mean you could work 28 hours. My best friend, she's in residency to become a surgeon. She just worked 28 hours. I was like, straight, I was like, that's crazy. I'm like, yeah, no, that's not my profession. I'm not doing that. Um, but knowing yourself, knowing not to compare yourself to others. Everybody's different, everybody has different limits, different experiences, etc., etc. But also being careful with that, because you don't want to cut yourself too much slack. You want to give yourself grace, but not too much where you're complacent and you're not living up to your potential.
Yeah. When you when you said that you're originally from Puerto Rico, I'm like, man, no wonder they call it La Isla del Encanto. It's like I have this friend Ulises. He's actually Boricua, and when I think about fast and slow and like doing things quickly, like Cuba Libre, it's so easy to do. It's like rum, coke, lime, and ice. That's it. This dude could not work as a bartender. He would get fired the first half hour because he takes probably 15 minutes to prepare each Cuba Libre. But the process, it's actually like it's this, he has a recipe and he has a process and he has like, he measures everything exactly. His grandfather taught him, and it literally takes him 15 minutes to prepare a Cuba Libre. But I kid you not, it's the best drink. And I'm not a cocktail guy because either cocktails are black or white. They could be very good or very shitty.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy prepares the absolute best Cuba Libre. And like, it's something that you could spin up in 15 seconds. He takes 15 minutes, but it's the best 15 minutes. It's definitely worth the investment. So shout out to Ulises and to all my Puerto Rican friends out there. I know that we could. The downside of these conversations being completely unscripted is that we could go on and on and on and on and on and on. Uh, and it seems like we could go on and on and on and on and on. But I had two final questions for you. The first one, so we've talked a lot about relationships and trust and relationship with money and people and how financial advisors or financial planners run their business similar to dentists, and it's all about knowing your client deeply, right? Um, and one of the things that I'm doing is like, so HubSpot, they coined the inbound motion, or the inbound motion existed. They just coined they coined the term, right? So it's inbound, there's outbound, but I believe that relationships make a huge chunk of how we conduct ourselves in business and in life, and how we go from point A to point B to point C to point W. So uh, and that's of course the name of the podcast, the Trust Bound podcast. So I guess the question for you is, when you hear the word trust bound, what comes to mind?
Hmm. Trust bound. I would say that, you know, it's something that someone or something that sticks out because you're actually able to trust them. They're that resource, that person that stick out in a world that not everybody is there for your best interest. So I just think it's a person or a resource that you could come to and trust in.
Beautiful. Just a beautiful framing. Awesome. Um, Jolisa, before I let you go, because I said multiple times in this podcast that this podcast isn't about the startup that I founded. It's not about Itogai, but and that I wasn't going to talk about Itogai almost at all in these podcasts. But I didn't say that I was not going to market my guests. So, how can people find you?
So I am also active on LinkedIn, Jolisa Gonzalez, Jolisa Gonzalez with two Z's. I also am starting a podcast soon, so you could find me on Instagram. It's Joe Flow, ITSJO Flow. I don't even know if that's the actual. I think it's Joe with the Flow podcast. This is I'm doing an awful job at advertising myself right now. Okay, let's run
But
this back.
that sounds sick. Joe with the flow. That sounds, yeah.
Okay, I think it's Joe with the Flow on Instagram, but my podcast is it's Joe with the Flow. I don't know. There are some people that had my name, so I'm not sure which platform has what username. But in the show notes and wherever this will posted, the correct information will be there because I will make sure to figure it out before.
Yeah, yeah. No worries. When this airs, we'll tag you. I'll tag you, and then we can spin it up in the comments. But if that's the name, Joe with the flow, that's a sick name. That's a sick name.
Yes, definitely the podcast is Joe with the Flow. I just don't know if all my social media handles are that exactly, or if I had to like add some component because people want to steal my name before I thought of it. Like, what's wrong with you?
Jolisa, thank you so much for being here. An honor having you here, and a very cool episode with a different spin, with somebody with a different background that is not tech.
Thank you for having me. It was a great conversation. Can't wait to hear the rest of your episodes that you have.
Oh yeah, thank you so much. If this resonated, pay attention to where trust has already been doing the work for you. That's where momentum starts. Learn more at itogai.com. See you next time. I'm Mauricio Suarez, and this is the Trustbound Podcast.